All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Masters of the Universe Origins Stridor. Now, yeah, this is a pretty cool figure. It's one of the, I guess, I'm not sure if Stridor technically counts as a vehicle or as one of the animals. Sort of both. It is sort of in that vehicle price point, whereas the animals, at least the two that we've gotten so far, have been slightly cheaper. Stridor is definitely sitting in that slightly more expensive vehicle price point, but either way, he's a horse, so robot horse, it can work either way. And yeah, it's a pretty cool figure. This figure comes with a ton of accessories, which I'll get into in a bit, but just to start off here, I'll go over the articulation real quickly. The front legs are on joints up here that can swivel back and forth like that. The knees can bend to about there and bend about that far the other way. The feet are also on swivel hinges there. The back legs are on ratcheting hinges, which can go from about there to there. So not a tremendous range there, but like enough to kind of get the legs in different poses. And then the knees here are also on ratchets going from there to there. And then the back feet are also on ratchets with about that range. The tail can swivel back and forth here. He's got this little turret back here that can swivel back and forth. The head joints, it's a little strange. Here he's got a swivel here at the neck, which has looks a little bit weird because it takes the sort of like ovular neck and puts it out of whack, so it doesn't really look that natural, even for a robot. Then this joint here, I'm not sure if this is meant to be much of a rotation joint. It really acts as more of a hinge joint here for the neck, but it does have a bit of wiggle back and forth, but I can't really get it to like stay, so I think it's just kind of a, the joint has a little bit of wiggle to it, but that joint pretty much serves to be, it's got pretty much 3 clicks, one like this, one like this, and one like this, so you can kind of adjust the neck there. The head, again, has pretty much just 2 clicks here, and it's got a bit of wiggle, but it doesn't really feel like you're getting much rotation out of it. Like, you can kind of bend the head a little bit back and forth, but it doesn't really like stay. The only way to really rotate the head consistently is to use that joint there, which of course looks a little strange, but gets the point across. He's got a little opening and closing mouth, which is it can't really stay open because it's on a spring because of one of the pieces that we'll get to here in a bit. But yeah, so pretty basic articulation, but it works pretty well, especially since I guess it could have conceivably had like ball joints connecting these legs to give it a bit more range of movement rather than just the hinges. But, I think it works well enough. Like, the Origins line isn't like super duper posable, but just enough to get a few variety of poses. Like, you can kind of, get his leg up in the air like in a horse pose. And you can probably like bring this leg forward to kind of adjust it a little bit. I don't know. You can't really do a whole lot without all 4 feet touching the ground because otherwise he's a little bit unstable, but stable. But it works well enough. In terms of his many accessories, first off the bat, he comes with 2 head pieces. One kind of more minimal headpiece that you can just put over him like that to give him some armor, and then another one which is much more of like an armored look that covers more of his head. Just kind of have to get his little ears in there. And both of those look cool. I think and this one gives him a little bit more of like a unicorn horn too. I think I generally prefer the more minimal armor to the like more expansive one, but either way, he comes with these 2 little guns here, which can just plug onto the sides here, just like that, to give him some extra armament. Pretty cool. He comes with 3 blast effects, which is something that we haven't seen a ton of in the Origins line, which is pretty cool. You can take those and plug them onto his little shoulder cannons here, just like that. And you can also plug it onto the little turret in the back here, so he can be shooting from all directions, and that's pretty cool. It's again, because like all the pieces are kind of close together and bump into each other a little bit. It's like a little bit awkward, but it's still pretty cool that they went out of their way to give him extra blast effects just to give you a little bit more bang for your buck. So pretty cool, and they're pretty solid too. Like, they're like they're definitely that softer plastic, so you can like flex them around the joint a little bit, or around the gun barrel rather. But you know, definitely feel pretty solid, which is nice. He comes with his reins, which is pretty much just a piece of string here, and it's got this piece in the middle that kind of slides back and forth, and then two handles at the end. And this is the reason that the mouth hinges open, is so you can put that middle section in his mouth and then have characters who are riding him hold on to these pieces here. Just tuck them in there for now, but that's pretty cool. And then last but not least, he comes with a nice big display stand with a little sort of fenced off couple sections here to be like a stable, and it's got that same sort of Castle Grayskull green brick pattern, and you're supposed to be able to plug this underneath Grayskull to kind of like add to it when it's open. I'm not going to bring the whole playset on here, but just so you know, that's a piece of functionality. And what you can do with this is if you plug it this big peg here into the bottom there, you can adjust his pose. It kind of holds him off the ground. What this is really meant for is so you can like tilt it back and then tilt his feet back, and then do you know, that kind of pose where he's sort of like whinnying and like lifting himself in the air a little bit, and that's pretty cool. I generally, I think, prefer him just standing on his own, but that is a pretty cool display option nonetheless, and it's nice that they included that. In terms of comparisons, just for standard comparisons, just to get those out of the way, here he is with a pop vinyl and a deluxe transformer. Here he is with Battle Cat, who is, you know, technically an animal, and I guess Stridor falls more into the you know, the vehicle price point, so he's a little bit bigger than Battle Cat, but they look pretty cool together. And here he is with He-Man and Skeletor from the Origins line. And so the functionality with getting characters to actually ride him, what you basically want to do, it's pretty simple. Like, he's pretty much just got like a big hollowed out section here and a seat, so you can just take the characters and kind of, you know, bend them forward at the hips a little bit and then just kind of get them in there. It's pretty simple. There's no like way for them to tab in or anything like that. You pretty much just sit them down like that, and it, you know, it works fairly well. In terms of the reins, I sort of wish there was somewhere on Stridor himself that these could clip, because there aren't that many Origins figures that actually have two holding things hands. So usually what ends up happening is like you put them in one hand, and then the other one you just have to like loop somewhere, like put it into the seat, which looks okay, but you know, it doesn't really have the full effect there. Just for an example of a character that does have two open hands, we can bring in Clamp Champ here without his weapons, obviously, and then we can give him both of the reins there, just so you can see what that looks like. Come on, there we go. And yeah, you know, that works pretty well. It's not much different than obviously the display without them holding the reins, but you can kind of adjust how far it is to the side one way or the other, depending on like which side you have facing out, and that works pretty well. The character that I generally prefer riding Stridor, just because like it's kind of what they show him off with a lot of the times, is Fisto. I think Fisto looks really good riding Stridor, although of course Fisto has the one hand that is just like this closed fist, so you can only get him to hold one of the reins here, and then he doesn't even have a hand to hold his sword, so I kind of just loop it in there. But you know, I think that's a pretty cool display option nonetheless. But yeah, you know, there's not really a ton else to him. He's a big, chunky figure and just kind of like a fun accessory, basically, to have with your Origins figures, to have a, you know, a variety of different vehicles and animals for them to ride. And it works pretty well. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Without further ado, here we have Masters of the Universe Origins Stridor.